Doris, and I am Little Bird Products. Welcome back if you've been here before, and thank you if you've already subscribed. And if you're new here, welcome. And please hit the subscribe button. I really do appreciate it, and you'll be notified every time I post something new. Today is my midweek check-in, and I'm happy to say I love my new hats. This one is one that's made out of all cotton fabric, and I put in some heavier stabilizer, which I like with that. And what I am doing is I am making, I have another hat that's denim and has some cotton fabric underneath. This is my first one that's all cotton fabric. And I made a matching purse. Isn't that cute? And it has a chain on it so that I can hang it over my shoulder. It can be an over the head, over the shoulder purse. Just so cute. I just love it. And I'll be putting this one in the store today. And on my list for the week, I actually have another purse that matches the other denim hat with the cotton fabric underneath. So I'll have two sets in the store for people to buy. And yesterday I sold my first purse, one of my denim purses. It's real cute, and I'm very happy. A new customer in Oklahoma purchased it on my Etsy shop. And this week, what I do on the middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday post, to kind of keep myself on track for what my goals were for the week, I got accomplished quite a bit. I cut out of one of the king size bedspread, quilted bedspreads that I bought at the charity shop. My goal was to get through those this week, at least to get them cut. And out of that king size one, I was able to get cut out a hooded coat / robe. And also I got a chenille kimono jacket and one of my French fold shrugs. So I'm really very happy with that. What I hope to get finished today is to get them serged, because I like to get the edges finished right away. And then I also have to piece the sleeves and the sides of the kimono jacket, because I didn't have quite enough to just cut the pieces straight out. And as you know, I'm kind of a fanatic about keeping all of my pieces together. So I do have enough to make it, and then I'm going to probably take some crocheted pieces that I have, or some lace pieces to make pockets, because I like pockets in all of my jackets. So I'm going to be trying to get that one finished, because then I have a kind of a pinkish mauve, kind of this color, king bedspread, that I want to get the same pieces at least cut out of this week. And as you know, I'm trying to be a little more realistic about what I can get made in a week. And then I also have the other purse cut out. I'd like to get that made today, because I really like the way they're turning out. And then that'll be the last one with this kind of a frame. I have more kiss-lock frames, but they're all sew-in. And I hope to get back to that and make a few more sew-in bags, but that's not top of my list. Next is to work on upcycling some jackets, because as you know, I have quite a stockpile of beautiful jackets, and they're calling to me and saying, you need to make me, you need to make me. And then my t-shirts. Let's see, I have down my list of what I got made. That made, I got my hat and purse, and then I want to get the other ones once I get it made in the store. Oh, and yesterday I had a very full day. I had some errands I wanted to run, and my sewing protege came over, because we usually try to get together at least once a week. And we either do some thrifting, or I have some new things that she wants to learn that I teach her, and it's kind of fun. It's fun to spend the day together, and she's a younger friend, which is really nice. She's about my daughter's age, and my daughter is very busy, and she works in the software industry, and she's just a really busy lady. She works 24/7, and she's really not she's not interested in doing the same kind of things that I do. And so it's nice to have someone that's kind of like my adopted daughter and friend, and she'll haul my little butt around when I want to go places. So yesterday on our list was, believe it or not, I need to get my garden fertilized. And because I have a gentleman who has offered to come over and plant heirloom tomatoes for me. Aren't they fortunate? That's another story. But he said he would do it for me as long as I did what he told me. And one of the things he told me is that I needed to fertilize my garden. And he told me what fertilizer to get, told me where to go. And he also told me to get alfalfa to mulch my garden. And, I had no idea what I was doing. So I went to the garden supply that he told me to go to. It's a special one, it's out in the country. And my protege drove me there. I said, okay, I'll buy you lunch, drive me there, and then we'll do our projects. So she was expecting, I said, well, we're going to get some alfalfa to mulch the garden. And she has a big SUV, which is a good thing. And she, in the back of her mind, she said she was expecting some humongo bale, like a big bale of hay. Well, we did get a bale, but it wasn't humongo. And it was something that we were able to lift in my little wagon when we got back home. And so I got my alfalfa to mulch my garden. And there's a real long story about that, and I won't bore you with it. But I thought it was kind of funny. After we were back, she says, oh, I just didn't know how we were going to get that big bale out of the vehicle. I said, no, I wouldn't hook you up for doing that. So then when we got home, two of the projects that we had on the list was we had to get her set up with a state sales tax ID because she's been selling her things and selling them at events and collecting sales tax. So she needed to be reporting that. So we got that finished. It didn't take us nearly as long as what we would think. But then she had asked me to pick out an easy-to-make pants pattern. And she does more upcycling and appliques and stuff. And she can sew, and she does a lot of sewing, and she has a serger that I taught her how to use and all that kind of stuff. But now she was ready to use a pattern. And she said, I just want a simple pants pattern. She said, for her, to make. And so I had one that I use quite a bit. It's a Tina Gibbons pattern, and it's pretty easy. It's just actually it's really just 2 pieces. I mean, you end up cutting 8 pieces, but it's just 2 pattern pieces, and it's it's the I think it's called elope pants, and they're kind of neat because they have an elastic waist, so they're very adjustable, and then the bottoms, I'd say it's a lantern shape. And so we went through making that. The most difficult thing is understanding the pattern. And since I've made it several times, I thought it wasn't difficult for me to make. So we made it together. She did all of the sewing. She cut it out, and I showed her, how to put it together, and I stayed there with her. And I thought it'd only take us maybe an hour. Well, we started working on it, I think, about 3 o'clock, because it was after we were back from lunch and our little garden expedition. And we got it all cut out. We got the darts made in the pant legs. We got it all put together, and she tried it on. And she says, oh, this doesn't fit. Well, I had made a pair and had her try those on beforehand, and they fit her fine. So we're looking at it. She says, I don't know what I did wrong. And of course, she was taking the blame on herself, which was very admirable of her, because I blamed her too. I said, you just did something wrong when you cut it out. We'll just add a bigger waistband on the top. And she kept going, I don't know why yours fit and these didn't fit. So then we laid them out, the ones that we had made, with the pair that I had made before. And sure enough, they looked a little strange. She says, I think we sewed these legs together upside down. I said, no. She said, well, when we were putting them together, I told you I kind of thought that this was the top and that was the bottom. And sure enough, under her wonderful mentor's tutelage, I had her sew them together upside down. So I had 2 seam rippers. So she ripped one leg and I ripped the other. We not only had to take the sides back off to turn them right side up, we had to take the pockets off because then they were upside down. And then we had to take the bottoms of the legs off because those were on the waist as opposed to the bottoms of the legs. It was funny. It was hilarious. And we were here until almost 8 o'clock. ripping these things because I was not going to give up. We got them put on. Then I decided, because she's a very statuesque lady, she's very tall, that we probably needed to add a few inches at the top for the waistband, for the elastic slip through, and I thought they'd be more comfortable for her. Well, when we got finished, these things were so stinking cute. We just made them out of it. I told her we would make what I call a wearable muslin. And I said, I usually make it first out of a cotton sheet, then I wear it around and see how I like it, and if I need to adjust anything, I do that. But they really looked cute on her, and she said, she says, I wish I'd used, she had another sheet that has a ruffle on it and stuff that she really wanted to use for her pants. And it was a good thing we waited to do that and did the wearable muslin. But it was a light blue sheet. And anyway, there's a whole story behind the sheet. The sheet's really cute. And it's just solid light blue. And I said, well, we can use it as our dye project, because we are going to be doing some dyeing of cotton fabric, just, to see what it turns out as another little day project when it's nicer weather here in Texas. So she said, well, maybe she likes to put applique on things, and she does a great job of it. She has a really good color sense. So she's going to put some applique, on her pants. And I've got to think of something to call these pants. I don't know, the pants that Jack helped us make, something like that. So, even a seasoned sewists make mistakes. This is the biggest mistake I've made in quite a while, and it was a doozy. But we got it fixed. It's like there isn't anything that you can't fix or cut up and make into something else. So that was, a whole day out of the week, but it was a fun day and I had a great time. So I'm hoping to be very productive today and get a lot done, and then be very productive the rest of the week, because I have quite a few things that I want to get made and get into my Etsy store. And Etsy's another story right now. This is my slow time of year. It starts getting busier when it gets into February and March, and then I'm really busy in July and August in the store, which is you'd think it's kind of strange. And it isn't because of what I sell. It just seems like my customers have more expendable income, and they spend a little more then. But I'm really excited about these purses and hats, the matching, because I think they're super cute. And I'm going to try to keep them, affordable. Right now, my hats in the shop are $49 to $59. They are reversible, which is really kind of neat. Usually what will happen is, a side that you favor more than the others. I like the busier side to be underneath and around my face, and I like the more, solid color side, just because it goes with more things this way. I like that on the top. But, you can turn it and wear it the other way. And I have a lot of this really beautiful, this is a Paris fabric. I have these complementary prints in this really nice fabric. And I used to make aprons. I think, if you followed me for a while, you know that. And I don't make aprons anymore, but I have a lot of this beautiful cotton fabric left. And so with that heavier duty stabilizer, I can make a hat out of it and make the purses too. The only thing is I bought this new stabilizer, and I got it at Walmart, and I'm not real happy with it. I'm happy with the stiffness and the way it turns out, but it has different instructions. You use a dampened pressing cloth, and you use a steam iron to fuse it to the back of your fabric. But I'm finding that it doesn't fuse tight. It tends to want to pull up, as that dries, and I think that it just doesn't have enough glue on it. So I was having to spray it with that sticky spray to keep it down while I'm sewing it. And it doesn't really matter once it's put together, because it's all sandwiched inside, when you do it that way. But it's kind of annoying. It takes more work to sew it together and make sure it isn't curling up and catching in. So I'm not real happy with that. I'm not going to purchase that again. I'm going to try to find a place to purchase probably a roll of Pellon stabilizer, and that's usually what I use, is a big roll. So I get that on Amazon. I just happened to be in Walmart, and I thought I'd save myself another Amazon shipping order, even though I'm a Prime member and I tend to get most of my things from there. It's worth it paying a little more and waiting for it to come when it's a better product. So that's what I'm doing. That's where my week is. Oh, and I'm happy to say that I am at like the 920 plus mark for my subscribers, and I'm well on my way to getting 1,000. So then I need to get my watch hours up. So I'm going to be trying some new things with my videos to try to make it more engaging for people to watch through the whole video. And I'm not going to make them longer. I think that 20 minutes is about a max, for viewing a video, especially when it's just a vlog, like this. So watch for more of my cute little hats and my matching purses to come, and also my coats. I'm hoping by the end of the week that I can show you, a new hooded jacket, a kimono, and also a French fold shrug, because the colors, I'm kind of stuck on these color set. I really like this kind of an aqua, and that's what the bedspread was that I cut up. And then hopefully I can get into the one that's more pinkish like this, which is more my color, and it matches my glasses. Oh, you're so cute. Anyway, have a great week. Be productive, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.